It's funny, I wrote an introduction for a book a little while ago, and so me and my friend of mine, we were 18 and we got arrested and we went to court, and we're like the first time that we got arrested, and we were talking, about to go into court, and we were talking, and he was like, so, you know, we're gonna get found guilty, are you still gonna write graffiti? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, you imagine if we're still doing this when we're 20? You know, you imagine if we're doing it when we're 30? No, we'll never be doing it when we're 40. And, you know, I have a painting in the White House, and a friend of mine got nominated for an Oscar. You know, you can't make this stuff up. You can't possibly imagine where your life will take you if you have kind of a drive and a passion and a belief in what you do. So, yeah, I can't ever imagine. I'd hate to stop painting stuff in the street. You know, street art street art should be in the street, and some of that street art should be done without permission. It's what gives it its life, its electricity. Oh, so this is the wall that secures the British Embassy in Abu Dhabi. And so basically Abu Dhabi has never had kind of graffiti or street art here before. And I weirdly have a connect with David Cameron. I gave him a painting a few years ago. And maybe because of that, and it's me, they've given me permission to paint the wall. But this is pretty new for British embassies around the world, and definitely pretty new for Abu Dhabi, so yeah, crazy. And you know, at the end of the day, it's fucking paint. You don't like it, just paint over it. Bucket of white paint and two dudes with a roller, like half a day and it's gone. You know, it's one of the things that always kind of surprises me about kind of graffiti and street art, and you know, how offended and upset people get about it. And it's like, it's just paint. All we're doing is changing the colour of something. If you don't like it, paint over it. It really isn't the end of the world. But then, you know, in the same respects, you know, I'm as passionate about doing it as some people are about getting it off. So, you know, if it wasn't, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that it was illegal and, you know, you weren't allowed to do graffiti, then I would never have done it. You know, it was the adrenaline and, you know, the chase and the fear of getting caught that kind of drove it, and the ego and the one-upmanship with the other mates that do it, that kind of drove us to do it. And you know, now we get paid to do it and get permission to paint the walls of embassies in the Middle East. So it's, yeah, how times have changed.
As let's give him an art exhibition in the gallery, but then it went to, he's a street artist, why don't we have him paint a few walls in Dubai and Abu Dhabi? So basically we worked with the British Embassy, and the British Embassy gave us a 45-meter wall, and we basically had him create a few sketches to see what could go on that wall, which we came up with beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So he painted beauty is in the eye of the beholder in Abu Dhabi, on the street, on the Corniche, where, as you know, Abu Dhabi is a bit more kind of conservative than Dubai, but at the same time, you know, you don't really see art in the streets yet. So he worked on doing that, and the problem is the wall wasn't going to be permanent. It was going to be just a temporary wall. So we had to think of a way to get this wall permanent. And what we did is we had Sheikh Nahyan was the Minister of Arts and Culture, and a very you know, amazing man who's super supportive in the art scene, come over and, you know, handed him a spray can to basically work with the artists and kind of engage with the artists. And, you know, that moment or in that day, we realized that, you know, there is a support from the government or from the government or from the cultural authority to help support us in art, as long as, you know, you basically, you know, have the right message, let's say.
You know, this is a global art movement that happens pretty much everywhere in the world, and this is like one of the few places where it doesn't happen, you know, because of rules and regulations and, you know, people's conservative opinion of what it is. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like beautifying boring spaces and it's not advertising. So yeah, we get the kids down. They can have some fun.
And you know, street artists usually are people that go and, you know, vandalize streets or don't care of what people think and just paint whatever they want to paint for the sake of putting a statement. But then that's what a street art or a graffiti artist is. But then those artists develop and now are going into art spaces, into gallery spaces. So if you look at, you know, Benigne's artwork that's in the gallery was selling between $10,000 and above. If you look at Banksy, he's selling for $200,000 and $300,000. So these artists are going from, you know, vandalizing, not vandalizing street, but like putting statements on the walls in the street, but then going into urban art. So that's an urban art movement. It's a street artist that goes into a movement of a gallery, and that's the urban art movement. And it's quite huge, especially in Europe, more than the Middle East. The Middle East still is not on it, but I could see a huge movement coming out of it because we do have wall space and we do have hoardings that we could actually use.
Yeah, I think art is always about, you know, pushing the boundaries, bringing new ideas, new concepts, new views on everything. And you have to accept that it's not always within what the society deems acceptable at any time. Very often artists are forward-looking. And I think this is what this is about. And I think I welcome the fact that this type of art, which was, as you said, a little bit kind of banned or not welcome, to become more mainstream and accepted by everybody.
It was the support we got from sponsors that believed in us and what we do, which is as a modern art gallery, to go into, hey, we have a project that's street art. Would you be interested? And the final important thing, actually, Zayed University. The whole activation was with Zayed University. So we collaborated with them where they brought their students and they worked with the artists. So it wasn't just, hey, you know, we're painting on the wall. It was also an educational program that we put with Zayed. So Zayed University students that are all women who are in the art fields, whether in typography or in curation, worked with Benign.
You know, what we're painting on the wall is pretty new for this town. And, you know, it's a little bit different, you know, just driving past next week and seeing a finished thing and like, oh, look at that, wow. But, you know, so we've arranged to get the kids to come down. So we're going to paint on this wall here, Abu Dhabi, and I'm going to sketch it up. We're going to paint the background, and then the girls are going to come down tomorrow, and I'm going to let them pick some paint. But this might be the first time that any of them use spray paint. And as a medium for creating art, especially in public spaces, it's easily the best medium you can get. So yeah, we're just trying to engage some people. Graffiti is, you know, pushing, developing, stretching words and letters.
Yeah.
Graffiti is typography
Yeah.
in its most abstract form. And when I stopped doing graffiti and started doing kind of street art, I took graffiti and typography to its most basic, simple form. You know, I kind of explored and developed old woodcut fonts. Like everything that I do is kind of my interpretation of an ancient font, just brought up to date and painted with spray paint as opposed to carved out of blocks of wood and printed. The handmade element, everything I make in my studio, I make myself. I cut my stencils by hand, you know, I draw most of the letters and the words by hand, you know, I paint everything by hand. So yeah, just taking that ancient typography and kind of bringing it up to date.
When Benign arrived to Art Space, basically we wanted to have a bit of Arabic stencil work in the work. So he had his few works that were his signature, which he launched the modern art print that day. So there was a lot of modern art on the walls. But then at the same time, he did a few works that he actually worked in the space to produce these Arabic stencils. I had to work with him because I'm an Arabic speaker, so I had to work with him to do the cutouts that are in Arabic words and Arabic letters. So it was fun because it was pretty much a collaboration. It wasn't just, you know, artwork on the walls. It was 3 days of like cutouts and producing the work in the space. So the work actually was produced in the space. It wasn't just, here, let's put the artwork, just hang the artwork.
I was quite against these kind of, you know, East versus West kind of collaborations. You know, I mucked around with some stuff in my studio, I didn't like it, I carried on trying, I got a couple of pieces that I was happy with, so they came here. But then when coming here, you know, I began to kind of understand the importance of Arabic text, and also began to understand the importance of, you know, what I was doing and me being here. You know, I'm introducing, you know, street art, whatever you want to call it, to an audience that really has never seen it before, and especially hasn't seen it here. And, you know, talking to the students that came down and helped me paint the wall, you know, they're studying calligraphy and graphic design. So again, you know, it's an important thing. So, you know, I've been working on a few paintings in there, and yeah, incorporating, you know, the Arabic and the English a lot more, because yeah, it is really, really important, and it's, you know, it's a great opportunity. So basically, we've just been going through Arabic words, printing them out, kind of trying to choose, because there's, again, Arabic, I didn't know this, you know, there's loads and loads of different fonts. You know, to me, it looks like two types of fonts, like the handwritten with a paintbrush calligraphy and a vector-drawn Helvetica version of Arabic. But coming here, you learn that there's thousands of them. It's an art form, a massive art form. So we've been playing around with different Arabic scripts, and we've chosen some words, and those words are going on my canvas as a background. I've done a, you know, an Arabic-inspired tile pattern that's going on some little paintings. Yeah, and just, you know, the colours that I would have used in San Francisco, you know, the colour palette for these new paintings has changed because I'm here, I'm experiencing it. So, yeah, it's good.